So I figured that I would work on Silver City again, because I haven't done that in a very long time. And honestly, I was kind of surprised, because I expected loads of reactions like, no, Silverette, why are you doing this? Why are you not working on this park? But surprisingly, I didn't get that, so I was like, okay, does it not matter? But then again, you know, I just do things when I feel like it, and I just didn't feel like building this park anyway. But then there was one morning, and I think this was the last morning of the test week, when I was like, okay, I have the urge to build a city hall. And you know that when you have the urge to build a city hall, you just need to do it, you know? You just need to kind of just let your body guide you to what you really need to build. So that was a city hall. So, but first I kind of wanted to do roads, of course, because I don't want to place a city hall in the middle of nowhere. So a plan that I've been having for a very long time for this little city here is to actually add a small park, because, you know, this is America, and we need parks. And if we do make a park, I'm just gonna make it rectangular like that, because I don't know, that just seems to make sense. And I figured I'm gonna place a fountain in the middle, because I don't know why. Fountains are cool, and you always place them in the middle somewhere. And this is going to be that path that's going to lead onto the city hall, because one of the reasons why I wanted this park, there are multiple reasons. Of course, for one, I kind of want to have a park, because a city without a park is not a city, is it? Or it's Detroit. And secondly, I kind of wanted to see if I could get a nice spot from which you can kind of see the skyline. Because what's the skyline if you can't really have a place where you can actually see it? You know, that doesn't really make too much sense. So I kind of wanted to build this park to see if I could kind of make that skyline look nice in the distance and stuff like that. And then there's the fact that if I build a city hall, I kind of want to make it big and neoclassical, like I'm currently doing. And this building is pretty much Washington and all that, but I don't care. I felt like building something like this. And yeah, that's why I built the park as well, because if you have buildings everywhere and there's a big city hall in the middle of nowhere, I mean in the middle of the city with all those kinds of buildings, it's hard to actually get a nice view of it. So I just decided to build it over here so I could actually have a park in front of it and actually look at it from a distance as well, because of course you have to kind of appreciate good architecture from a distance, I suppose. Speaking of good architecture, this is not going to be the final version. I actually deleted half of this building later on. Well, not half of this building, but the roof. I decided to make the roof a lot lower later on, because I suppose that's an issue with trying to keep the camera at one place so I get a good time lapse. It's the problem that you can't really look at the building from the side, because I was too afraid that I would kind of ruin the time lapse. So in the end, when I did look at the building from the side, when it was all finished, I decided that it looked like shit, basically, and that wasn't all that great. But that was easily fixed by well, I suppose lowering the roof on the side. And I just hit my pop filter, by the way. That's what you hear. I always hit my pop filter because I always make hand signals when I'm talking for a let's play, even though nobody sees it. I do it anyway, and then I hit my pop filter. Yeah, nice to meet you. That's what I do in my daily life. Oh, of course, that's why I did it. I deleted that wall because it was kind of out there, over there. That didn't really look too nice either. And then I had to delete all of the roof stuff, and almost back at square one. But yeah, this is going to be the final version of the building. Yeah, not going to do any more of that messing around with it. And this is also where I decided, okay, fuck it, I'm just going to move around with the camera and actually get a good building, because that's still more important than getting a good time lapse. And honestly, if I do say so, I like this building, but then again, a problem that I have with it is the fact that the theming is kind of generic. I remember that at one point in time, the neoclassical theme wasn't very popular in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, but then it got popular, and just using Ralphie's, well, antique world for neoclassical buildings, and rarely anything else is kind of, well, overdone as of lately. But then again, this is a city hall, and it's in America, so we do need that. We do need to kind of make a building that looks awesome, and like it's in power and all that, and that's why this is going to be the city hall. And I remember a couple of other requests, one of which was to build a cinema. I'm still going to try that. I don't really know where to place it though, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. I also want to try and build a university. Well, not really a university, a school, at least a school. Probably just a high school. I'm not going to add anything else. Silver City's not that big. But yeah, I want to build a high school, not an elementary school, because nobody cares about those things. And high schools, well, sometimes they do have really nice buildings, so I suppose that's also something which I can kind of let my creativity guide me and see whatever I can come up with. which is probably not going to be all that creative either. I suppose it's kind of a problem that I let my creativity be guided by American stereotypes. Like over here. Oh wow, that's a coincidence. I decided, okay, this building is in America, is gonna have to feature loads of American flags. Because, you know, liberty and all that. So now it has a couple of American flags. I suppose it doesn't really add too much to the building, but, you know, it's still random details that you can add, and I can edit because it's America. So, that's nice. And I suppose the city does look pretty cool from over here, but that's something to talk about later on. The other thing that I wanted to do with the city hall is also kind of add some parks around it. I didn't want to have just sidewalks around it. Of course, I want to have some hedges and foliage and some nice trees around it, and not really roads either. I don't know if that's a common thing, but basically I just wanted to have a park next to the park with a city hall and then the high school, and I'm just going to build one big place with all the buildings like that. And that's going to be the high-class area of Silver City, I suppose. I'm not going to add a slum, because that's not too much fun, really. And I kind of do want the city to look like a utopia-ish place. So there shouldn't be any terrible places, but of course there are some high-class places and some middle-class places, and nobody cares about the lower class. That's basically it. And I suppose that's Silver City summed up in one sentence. Of course, with high buildings and other stuff, of course. But, yeah, that's beside the point. I suppose that trees really do make buildings look a lot better. Because the only problem that I had with this building, as soon as I built it, was the fact that it's just one big white wall. And it doesn't really have too much to it, really, other than that. But then again, adding some big trees on the side, even though it does kind of block the view, I think it really helps. But anyway, that's this episode, and see you all in the next episode, in which I'm going to do something